Crazy Camp Life, Votes, and Tribals, the life of a survivor is more than you see on TV. So if you need the scoop on island survival, crack a coconut, put on some rice, and let's spill the immunity. Oh my God! I would have beat all of you! Sorry, I had to start with that. Come on. I know, right?
I've been working on that for a while.
I know. Oh man, so much to talk about today.
Let's do it.
Let's get to the biggest thing here. Brandon, you owe someone a bourbon burger. Brandon,
is that really the first thing we're going to talk about today? What is this?
Yeah, we're going to call. Hey, he's ready and waiting. He's like, he's starving. Haven't eaten in days.
He's probably starving for a decent winner. Let's see. Venmo, Brennan Gandy, bourbon burger sent. There you go, Brennan.
All right.
Done. We'll talk later.
Man of his word.
That was amazing.
That was fake. I can do it for real.
I want to share my. I'm going to share. Let's hope I can share my screen correctly. Facebook. Yeah. Nope. Right here. This one.
He knew something.
And I'm sharing my audio. We have a special message. Thanks to Brennan for doing this for us. What a true fan and friend, and we appreciate it. I'm going to share this. I don't know how to make it any bigger than that, so we're going to go with this.
Jelinski's big enough.
Yeah, Jelinski's big enough. Never ending Jelinski. We love it. Here we go.
Brandon, Bree, and Alex, what's good? Happy Survivor Wednesday. It's finale night, and I'm here in New York City to celebrate. I'm here with most of the cast. We're super excited for it. It's going to be an incredible episode. Some would actually say legendary. And I really appreciate that you guys thought I got voted out several days too soon. I think I got voted out several -2, whatever the math is on that, days too early. But don't worry, because I'm going to be back for Survivor 50, and I'm going to take the crown. I promise you that. I see that you guys like the big bourbon burger. Who doesn't? I got to try myself at Applebee's because I wasn't fortunate enough to make it that far in the show, and I was pissed
20 days.
about it because, being a Survivor fan, I wanted to do a reward challenge like that. Applebee's was sick. So just watching on the sideline, that sucked, and it was a big mistake. Anyways, I'm out here in the streets of New York to celebrate the finale with most of the cast. Keep an eye out for our TikToks. Keep an eye out for our Instagram posts because we can finally post together. And that's pretty legendary. Don't forget, several means 7. Brandon, Bree, and Alex, thank you guys so much for being big fans of the show. And I'm going to tune into your guys' podcast. If you guys don't listen to Spill the ImmuniTEA, that's not very legendary of you. So go ahead, several means 7. Listen to Spill the Immunity. Awesome podcast. I know I'll be tuning in. Happy Survivor Wednesday, y'all.
Never watched this.
Wow.
That was
amazing.
Okay.
Incredible.
He
That was
moved up on my
legendary.
list. He should have won.
Legendary. How could he not? The charisma on that guy. Wow.
The strategy, the balls to the walls gameplay.
I've never heard him his voice. So did Jelinski. Amazing.
I know,
what an amazing
right?
character. What amazing. He has to be. I want him on 50. Let's see him again.
Yeah.
I'd see him on 50.
I can see him voted off first. No, hey, Jelinski, if you're listening, you might get voted off first again, buddy. I don't know. I mean,
I want him on 50, 49, 48. I want him on the rest of them.
He's the host. He's taking over for Jeff.
Yes.
He's automatic. He comes from, they do another Outcast season, and he's just there. Like, that's
Thank you,
what it should
Jelinski.
Big
Thank you.
thank you. Brennan, thanks for sending that to us and getting that done for us. That was incredible. That just made my day. I was so excited when that came in, and that we got a shout out
There's
for
the heart.
show.
There's
the
hearts.
hearts.
Those are Banu's.
Hearts.
Those are Banu's hearts. Give them back.
Yes.
1 million hearts. 1 million hearts.
1 million hearts. We got a lot of those giveaway today.
Wow.
Oh, that's a fun way to start the show today.
Super fun.
I love
season
that.
finale 46 of Survivor. Kenzie is our winner. We all thought it was Charlie.
We did.
Should we have maybe thought it was? I mean, I don't know. This is how are you? I have a certain feeling about it. I don't want to, pepper your guys' opinion. So I don't know. I want to pass it over to you guys. What do you think of the Kenzie win? Let's jump into it. Let's do it.
Charlie did say, and good for him. The humility on that kid was outstanding. I mean, definitely kept it in a little bit better than Liz did on her exit. But man, when you're when you're 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 3 seconds away from winning $1 million, and you keep it in, because it's like you're getting voted out, right? I mean, it's the same effect as getting second place is getting voted out, right? So kudos to him. And he did say the line, hey, it's up to the jury. We don't see the whole entire 26, 27, 25 days or whatever it is. So does she deserve it? I didn't see the whole show, but they're the ones who put those people there. And this is the season where I tell you what, for as crazy as a season this was, that was a pretty good tribal council. Bree, where are you at?
So I always believe that everyone that wins Survivor deserves to win Survivor because they played a game that got them there, right? She played the social game. She was friends with everyone. The Tiffany ride or die. There's so much to unpack about just like this whole episode, but that final tribal, so much to go through. But with Charlie, I felt like sometimes when so there's like two things that happen at tribal, right? If they don't ask you any questions, you ain't gonna win, right? It's like they don't really care what your answers are. You don't have a vote. They don't care. Right. If they ask you, if they interrupt you and keep asking things, it's also not a good thing, because as we saw with Charlie, they interrupted him a lot. They were like, nah, but like, and so I don't think the tribal went well for Charlie at all. I think that they were already minds made up on some things, except for Q, who apparently wanted to know what you were going to do with the money. Like, that was the most important thing. So, I would have given it to Charlie personally, but also Kenzie. Like, she did play a great social game. She was friends. She did things from the heart quite frequently. And even though she was left out of some votes, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm never going to watch Survivor again because Kenzie won, right? I like Kenzie. I think she's a great winner. Congratulations to, the Dragon Mermaid. I like that. But hey, Dale is in the house. Dale, we're going to do a live.
Mermaid
I'm going to throw something. I know, Mermaid Dragon. I got to give a shout out to Dale. We are doing a recap, like I don't know what you want to call it, Dale, like an opinion, a review. I guess it's a review of Fallout. That's over on Paramount or Amazon right now. So we're gonna do that Friday night live at 7 Central Time, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Just giving him a shout out because I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna be on that show. Dragon Mermaid, man, she was like, I listen, lots of tattoos. I'm loving that. All of the things. She's a sweet girl, and I think she did play a smart game. So I'm not shook. I'm like very happy that, like, I'm sad for Charlie. I think he played a better game. I think for me personally, the biggest question that came out of this, I don't think it's maybe this whole new era, but like this season specifically for me was, I feel like we're kind of shifting away from outwit, outplay, outlast kind of a thing. Like we just, Q with his, I want to vote for whoever's going to spend the money on the right things. And, it's very much who I liked the best. And I know the juries do that. And I know the bitter jury, and I get that whole thing. But like, there are some undeniable things that Charlie did in that I think they didn't give him credit for. And so it just makes me feel like, where are we, like, what are we really looking at? Because that's kind of like on their logo of Survivor is outwit, outplay, outlast. It should come in to how we make a decision. So,
well, that goes back to, did he sell it? Did he sell his game?
Yeah. So go back to Q. Q said Charlie doesn't have the killer instinct. He wasn't willing to throw Kenzie under the bus and say, I outwitted her. Kenzie was completely out of the Tiffany vote. I was driving the entire game. He didn't stand up for himself. I mean, he didn't take, and he's a Harvard guy. I mean, he should be able to lay. I was waiting for him to say from start to finish, like D did, right? Every single step of the game, every single decision he made. He was writing that abacus on the beach and all the different people. And I didn't hear a full display of his entire game. And Kenzie, she was out of that Tiffany vote. And so Charlie did outplay her on that instance. Soda said, the brain in me, the Survivor fan, makes me want to vote for Charlie, but my heart makes me want to vote for Kenzie.
Yep.
As far as what Q said, as far as like who's going to use the money, I mean, Charlie, he's like, oh, I'm going to give it to several nonprofits. Okay, if you don't have a nonprofit to name, don't try to say, I'm going to give money to nonprofits. Big mistake. I don't know if he told people it was at Harvard, and his like pulling on the heartstrings was, I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm an immigration law. Like, bro, like he would be fine with the money, right? Without the money, right? So Kenzie, struggling financially and all that different stuff. So and if, we had a football player go to the NFL football player, right? We've had those on the show before, people who have made a lot of money or famous people, they go to the end. I think it does play into the vote as far as do they have money? And, I don't think that should be the deciding factor. The fan in me says Charlie should win. He played a perfect game. The crazy thing, though, is Maria. God. I mean, she just turned. I mean, maybe they just weren't showing things, but I've never seen that before where your number one doesn't vote for you. Where's the loyalty? Where's the, and she tried to vote him off. So, I mean, I look at Maria now and I'm like, wow, like that's so cool. Like you got to vote for your number one. I think it's Survivor. Just, you have to vote for your number one. He brought you that far in the game. You were a pair. And then the thing is too, Kenzie teamed up with Liz to make sure Maria got off.
Exactly.
So it's not only that.
Which I want to put, that's a whole other thing we got to get into later. I do want to take a second.
Were they even close? No.
I don't think so. I want to take a second to say what Brennan, and that I think this is a really good point. Kenzie being in the fire making challenge was pivotal to her end game. It was the last thing the jury saw. I have to agree with that. I think, but I'm seeing people, I've seen other Survivor Now podcast last week where they were doing like the whole breakdown of how people are going to win and who's going to win. They had Kenzie heavily favored because she was so well liked. Mm-hmm. And Charlie just didn't make those connections like Kenzie did. So I think that definitely was a factor in Charlie's game. But yes, Maria turning her back on Charlie in the end. No more Uncle Charlie. I mean, I would, and you could tell he was shell-shocked. Yeah. Right.
You see him when Jeff read Kenzie, he was like, he had like this. I mean, he was in like despair. I mean, it hit him like he realized, oh crap, he should have brought Maria, but I don't know. Maybe Maria would have. I wanted Jeff to say, if it was a tie, Ben, who would you voted for? Charlie. I wanted to hear that. But what was I going to say? Shoot. I don't. I'll think.
It would have been a tie if Maria hadn't changed her vote like that and gone for Kenzie, and that's just bitter. I think I've seen a lot. I have a thing I want to put up here in a second of a lot of the reactions over on X, on Twitter, and I think it really there was a downfall to Maria, and she knew she was going home, at 5 at that point since she didn't win, but. I think it's her, what she was putting out there to people for most of the season felt fake at the end because of the Charlie vote, because of the rock, paper, scissors, because of the way, you know what I mean? The way she was at the end. Like even just saying to them, oh, I guess you guys are playing the game.
Yeah, and I think she was definitely doing that to try to throw some fire over on those guys and say, hey, like you guys are playing just as hard as I am. I didn't see that coming. So she was definitely grasping at anything and everything she could to get out of that power position for at least one more vote. But then you also have to make sure you don't take yourself out of that power position, because then you lose the reason why you should win the game in the first place. So this top 5 thing is just always one of my favorites of this game. I want to go back to Brennan's comment before we let go of it. Agree with the pivotality, I'm gonna make up that word right now, of that fire making. She just got done winning the immunity challenge, and then she made fire. So like 2 big things in Survivor. I think Hunter even alluded to the fact that he was kind of on the Charlie train, and he felt that Charlie slipped the last 2 tribal councils, and it was those 2 reasons why he slipped. So, in order to play Survivor, you have to have a strong end game, and Mackenzie had the best end game of the 3.
Well, Charlie totally choked on the final challenge. Let the ball drop twice. Like, huge error. There's no excuse why you shouldn't have won that puzzle challenge, right? You let the ball drop twice. Easy chat. So, and then didn't stick up for himself, and then said, back to Q's content, he doesn't have that killer instinct. He didn't want to be in the fire making challenge. Why not? Liz was easy pickings. Right? Why not boost it? Why not show that you're the dominant player? Well, why not play a perfect season? Yeah. My wrist. Yeah.
Mine don't make that noise though, so they're going to be silently doing that.
My knuckles crack, but she's like, I can't hold things. I don't know. She held it fine. I mean, she just didn't know how to make fire. So, yeah. I mean, Charlie just totally dropped the ball and choked at the end, and then didn't stand up for himself at Tribal, and didn't lay out he didn't do his thesis. Where's the Harvard thesis, buddy? So very disappointing, but yeah, I think Kenzie deserved to win, and a lot of women on the on the jury, right? And she had those really close connections with Venus and with Tiffany, and Soda didn't vote for her, but Maria
Soda did vote for her, right?
Who did?
Soda did vote for her, because she said that the fan side of her wanted to vote for Charlie, and the heart side of her wanted to vote Kenzie, and that's why she went with Kenzie. Was that true, Bree?
I think so. Yeah, she like asked them the questions. I think the pivotal thing for Soda's vote too was because Kenzie owned the question. She was like, tell me why I'm right, or prove why I'm wrong on this. And Kenzie was just like, yeah, that was what I did. That's how I played the game. I own it. Like, instead of trying to shift it or make it, just own it. Like, I think that's respected when you I wasn't the greatest at that. Ben should have owned it. He kind of did, but because he didn't really do anything. I have to put this, I really want to put this. So I took a bunch of stuff off of Twitter that I found humorous or interesting, and I wanted to, it's going to go over our screen, so we're going to be peeking around the corners here, but here we go. So we'll start at the top. Drawing the parallel between starting the game without fire on Yanu and redeeming that arc by winning fire making was a brilliant move for Kenzie's narrative. So that kind of plays into what we were just saying, what Brennan brought up. Like, that was a big move at the end for her. So I really liked that.
And one of those things about this game that changes, I think, the next 2 or 3 seasons is that, even though Charlie didn't think he need that on his resume, that is one thing. It would never have been fire in the eyes of the Dragon Queen or Mermaid Dragon. That would have maybe Maria would have voted in that way if she's telling the truth about why she voted for Kenzie instead of Charlie. So very interesting. Very interesting.
Yep.
Well, both of the ladies at that challenge too, they just had zero confidence going into it. Both of them were just like defeated already before they started. I was just like, come on.
That's what they did at every immunity Survivor. They did that at every immunity challenges. They were like that.
It's like, at least fake it like you are semi enjoying it. They just came in there like, oh, poor me. I can't make it's a fire, guys. They give you flint. Like,
yeah, you should know how to do it before you go. Right. Chicago Jules says, you see the difference in a bitter ally and a ride or die. Tiff has Kenzie's back. If she couldn't win, she wants her to. Maria is trying to undermine Charlie. If she couldn't win, she doesn't want him to either. So I think that I can see, I really didn't like the Maria vote at all. And this is true. Tiff had Kenzie's back the whole way. They were as close, I think, as Charlie and Maria were at one point. And then that didn't pan out.
I wonder if there's two things there, though, that we aren't talking about with that. One is the fact that Tiffany got voted off like 2 weeks ago when Maria just got voted off. So I wonder how much Tiffany would have held to that vote for Kenzie if it was like top 5 or top 4. Maybe that's true. But I do think that there's a little bit more animosity for those that just got voted off compared to somebody who's been gone for a while. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any truth in that?
Well, I mean, think about this. You know, Maria is 47 years old. Charlie is 25. Are they really going to be friends? Is he really going to be Uncle Charlie? No, he's 25 and she's 47. She has a family and 3 children. He's newly married. You know, Kenzie's going to be a mother, you know, and Maria's thinking about that, right? Like, oh, well, Kenzie wants to be a mom and Charlie's going to be good financially. He's obviously a brilliant guy. You know, Kenzie actually really needs it. She's 28, you know, and I think she is pregnant now if you look at her Instagram, right?
Yes, she is.
You know, so I mean, I can understand Maria's point, but like, in my opinion, I'm a ride or die type of person. I'm a loyalty type person. If I was in the game and Charlie brought me that far and we were a dynamic duo, he earns my vote because he got me that far in the game. And I would be grateful for that. And he was loyal to her until she wasn't, you know, and they both decided at the same time. So I can understand Maria's decision. Wouldn't be my decision, but
yeah,
you know, it is what it is. So yeah, Charlie's not really going to go over for family dinner and be Uncle Charlie. And
yeah.
Well, and also is this, there's 2 seasons now in a row where the female kind of lends herself over to making the guy think that there's a lot more to their relationship than there really is. The first one with Dee, who Austin and her are still waiting to go on their first date back in America. Second is now Maria, who now is, you know, Aunt and Uncle Charlie and Maria or whatever, and that's not going to happen. So like 2 seasons in a row where the winning female, I don't want to say led on. I don't want to say led on, but maybe made a relationship a little bit bigger just to, you know, go a little bit further.
I got to mention this too. Did you guys see the commercial for Quiet Place Day 1 by Dee?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
She's intense, man.
Jeez. I was like, what did I do wrong? Jeez. She was like sprinting at me, yelling. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm going to die too. Yeah. I'm about to die.
A lot of comments about that. I wanted to bring up really quickly. Brennan corrected us. Soda voted for Charlie.
Yeah, see, that's what so she is the true fan. She says Charlie did play the best game. He really did have a perfect game. What it outlasted. Yeah. Thank you, Brennan. Yeah. If you can get all the different votes too, we'd love to hear that. So
Muna says Maria not voting for Charlie to win is by far the blind side of the season. I have to agree with that as well. I like that comment. I'm like, yeah, because there were blind sides, but were they really blind sides? To be honest with you. And that one, I think, and you could see it on Charlie because they don't get that pause between playing and winning. You know what I mean? Like they announce it right there at the time, and he had no time to like react to that at all. It was just like, wow, that was rough.
And that might be like the tribal council final vote of Survivor as far as the biggest blind side, because I can't think of another time where I was that surprised by how somebody voted. But could you imagine if it was a tie vote, if Maria does play hypothetical, Maria does vote how I think she should have, goes 4-4. Could you imagine Ben is the one who has a
I know. I was thinking that he would have night terrors to this day about making that decision, right? He would be that would be the absolute worst possible conclusion for Ben. It's a real question mark because he took Charlie to the end. Yeah. And didn't take he chose to send Kenzie to fire and not Charlie, which
maybe he accidentally
put Charlie.
And maybe he accidentally puts Vesepia or Venus or Kevin, or whoever he wants on his mind at that time.
Yeah, they're like, you have to write down the person that you win. He's like, wait, whoa, right?
He puts Hunter. Yeah, bless his heart.
Well, and I'll skip to this one. The elephant from Gabon writes, Yala educators who thought Ben would break the final tribal tie were almost right. Now he might have to choose which one to take to the final 3 instead, which he did, right? So he did have to choose, and he could have gone on to choose to break a tie. I think that, I don't think his anxiety would have allowed him to even answer that question. He would have been like rock, paper, scissors at that point. So, it was tough. Allie says, Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say that would be crazy if you just said rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
That would be a crazy end, Maria style. Hey, rock, paper, scissors for $1 million. That'd be pretty cool.
It's like season 1, Sean, pick a number between 1 and 60. Go.
Right. Allie said, I wish so badly Jeff had asked the jury to raise their hand if they would have voted for Liz had she made the final 3. Her reaction to seeing no hands would have made the entire season worth it.
Yeah.
That was really funny. I had this game in the bag. You are so lucky. That's just a lot of layers of irony there, but
so and I just got done listening to Venus's go home video, whatever they call those things, and Venus actually has a huge amount of respect for Liz, and she probably could have gotten a vote, but then again, Venus again would have been all by herself on that decision making. So that would have been fun.
Well, I mean, Liz did play a very unique game. I think, she didn't play a bad game. She wasn't a go. I mean, she literally wasn't, because she just did her own game. She did her own thing, did the game like she probably does her own life. She goes her own way. She does her own thing. She forges her own path. You got to respect that, and, was she going to win? No. Did she play the best strategic game? No, but she definitely played a unique game and, some redeeming qualities in it. And
I like Liz,
no food and and she's she is a likable person. Like she really is.
Yeah. I mean, I like her.
Jeff said it too. Like she's like one of those characters on the show that they're a little bit goofy, but they're lovable.
You're going to remember her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her a lot better than Banu, but Brett, bless his heart. But yeah, I think Liz, I didn't mind Liz's game. I thought she was a little, in her own head at the end there when she thought she had a chance to win, but good on her. She did make it all the way to Final 4, which is something. And she had a lot more, things in her way as far as food and her risks. And Lord knows what else. But she got there. She got pretty far and lost in the fire making. So she never even got voted out technically. So,
and not only that, but she obviously thought that the 3 of them were, and obviously the 3 of them wanted her gone next. So she must have been doing something we weren't seeing in order for them to be like, no, let's beat Liz at Firemaking. Unless Charlie, Kinsey, and Ben were just saying, hey, we're more friends than we are together than we are of Liz. But they just got done voting out a best friend for Charlie, and that was Maria. So, maybe she did have a game that we're just not seeing.
Yeah. And finally, my very, very, very favorite tweet or X or whatever you call them now, my favorite one was this one from Survivor Top 10. Really surprised Charlie hasn't had a voting confessional saying, and I got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. That is a T-Swift quote. Come on. I wanted to see one of those. I really wanted to see that too, and I love that you posted that. So that I thought that was a fun. I had fun over on Twitter. That I was busy and couldn't sit down and watch the show last night. I had to watch it this morning, and so Twitter was giving me serving it last night, or X was serving it last night in all of the posts that people were putting, and I enjoyed a lot of them. So I wanted to share that, but. Yeah, what's your take on all of that, guys? What did you like? Should we do more of those Twitter reactions?
I always like to. I mean, I'm American. I like to react to anything on Twitter. Yeah, sure thing.
So here's our voting. Voted for Kenzie, Tevin, Q, Venus, Tiff, and Maria. Voted for Charlie, Hunter, Liz, and Soda. So.
Hunter, Liz, and so surprising that Liz voted for Charlie when Liz was the person who helped Kenzie out in the challenge, and they had kind of that bond, right? And so maybe Liz is just a very, she really likes the gameplay, and so Charlie was in control the entire time. Hunter's not a surprise because he's very, a purist as far as Survivor goes, right? So he's just looking at gameplay. He doesn't care if Tiffany likes him. Tevin, that was kind of a surprising one. Don't you think? I would think Tevin would really respect the game. Was there a given reason why Tevin switched?
I don't know, because Charlie even said that Tevin was, a big reason why he was in the place he was.
Right.
I forget what question he answered that Tevin was the answer of that question, but
Charlie, they were saying, what did you do in the game? And this is always funny when they're like, what's your biggest move in the game? They always respond, voting you off. Like, if you look at all the different survivors, they're like, what's your biggest game? And then they're like, it was voting you off. And then the person on the jury is just like, yeah, that was a big threat. Yeah, that was a pretty good move. So that was what Tevin. So Charlie was like, well, I came to the camp and I was realizing that your tribe, his tribe was Nami, right? He's like, you were on Nami, and Nami was came into the merge with the numbers, and Soda praised Tevin, and then Tevin said, I want Soda out. And so what Charlie gained from that was that Tevin was in charge. He was the master manipulator because he wants Soda out, but Soda's like, oh, I love Tevin, right? And Tevin was in control and was in a really good position, but when he got voted off, he just like took a nap that day and didn't strategize or talk to anybody, I guess. I don't know what happened, but
yeah.
So and then Tevin was like, you're right, I was the biggest threat. So, but then he changed his mind. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. I want to get into I mean, it was an interesting vote. The only person I ever felt that was really locked in was Tiffany. I didn't understand. I kind of thought Hunter would vote Charlie as he did, just because he does respect the game so much and will base it on actual game play. But yeah, I don't get the Maria vote. Tevin, I agree with you. I thought he would definitely go towards Charlie. Q, I don't know if anybody could predict who's buying my first skirt, and that's what I'm voting for. Who's investing in the Q skirt?
Well, Hunter did say this. He said, the person who convinced me not to play my idol was Kenzie. And we compared that to the Eric vote when all the women convinced Eric to give up his idol. And that was kind of a moment there where Kenzie used her charm to really convince him to not do something that obviously was going to happen. And so I do think that single move there could be the biggest move in the game. Her convincing him and her having the skill and like that social, that social capability to convince somebody like Hunter, who's really a student of the game, to not play his idol. Right there, that could be the biggest move.
That's very unfortunate for Charlie in that case, because he had just knocked off. He was the only one to be able to knock off Hunter during immunity challenge, which he said.
Yep.
And that was quickly canceled out by the fact that, Kenzie was the one who said that. So again, like that was Hunter helped out Kenzie in the tribal council. I really do think that was one of the best tribal councils I've seen, and I was very impressed by it, given what season it gave us the best tribal council. Very interesting.
Well, I mean, also a testament to her that she was on Yanu. Yanu got obliterated at the beginning. They had like the worst tribe, right? And she was on it and she survived. And this gets back to like American Survivor kind of versus Australian Survivor. Australian Survivor, they're like, who's going to win at the end? They're going first. American Survivor, Kenzie was an obvious winner from the beginning. Above average in all categories, pretty athletic, good looking, sociable. Everybody liked her. Within all, good with the females. She was very flirty with the guy. She just like was very good. Such a target from the beginning, but they didn't want to vote her off. They wanted to vote off our friend Jelinski. They wanted to vote off Jess. They wanted to vote off Banu. People who had no chance of winning, maybe Jelinski could win it, right? He's going to win 50. But, people who just not really that like Kenzie, not sociable, not super, super likable by everybody. So just an interesting thing that you leave these people, and that is also Charlie's demise. He just left these likable people to the end. Like, shouldn't they have kept, maybe they should have kept Venus. Maybe they should have kept Q, right? So that's where I think the Charlie despair was. He realized, I effed up.
Yeah.
I kept the wrong people. And so he actually didn't play a perfect game. And so we're kind of looking at it 2020 and saying, maybe Charlie isn't that power player, because he really did kind of just take the easiest path into the final with the cards that he was dealt. He played a good game, but you can't leave the people who are going to win at the end. And Kenzie
I think Charlie and Kenzie both could have won. I like both their games. Brandon says Kenzie was close to going home early game when the injury took out another player and prevented tribal.
It's true.
It's true.
Potentially.
And it's hard because it's, Q told us that. So like, how much of Q do we believe? That's why it becomes
Grain
very
of salt.
Yeah, man, I hope they vote out players like Q earlier in the game, because I want a good jury. I almost want a good jury more than I do a good final three, just because I want the winner of whoever the final three is for me to be completely knowledgeable about why they voted in that direction.
And I want Tiffany on every jury because she's amazing. She was like, I don't want to hear any Taylor Swift references, no rock and roll analogies. I don't want none of that. We are not here for that. We want, like, you need to bring it tonight and give us like the truth. And I was like, that was such a moment for Tiffany. And then later she wasn't quitting. She's like, Soda said, you're going to have 30 seconds to answer this question. And Tiffany said, and I'm going to be timing you. So when I say stop, you stop. I was like, all right.
She needs to moderate the presidential election this coming October. That'd be great.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the Tiffany. It's kind of Jeff's job to kind of, host the show, not Tiffany's job, in my opinion. So I don't know. Was that her tribal? Was she in charge of it's fine. Whatever. She can do what she wants. But I don't know. I didn't think. Let them talk, but again, they do cut the show. And so you've seen on other tribals that not everybody got a chance to ask a question because they edited it out or they didn't have enough time. So they did I didn't remember Maria's question exactly. I don't know if she did get a question in, but I did like that everybody. I don't like when they leave any person out of asking a question to the people. And then I did like at the end too, when Jeff said, is there anything else that was left unsaid?
That was good. I was like,
I like that. And I always want that because because all of them, they frame it in a certain way.
He said,
Q, you haven't asked.
He said, you haven't asked a question yet. So, I mean, I really, I agree with you. I want to see everyone have a chance. I liked it when they got up one by one to ask their question, because then I knew that everybody was getting a chance, right? So instead of them just kind of popping up, I was like, I kind of liked that. I also miss them introducing them when they walk in every single, I know that's 15 seconds I didn't want to waste on, but there are little things that they leave out that I kind of miss that aren't a big deal to anything, but I think it's kind of nice to say who the jury is as they come in and all that. I don't know. That's just me. I want to get to, because I have a lot, so we have 20 minutes left. I have a lot to cover. I want to get to your opinion on the challenge where Liz helped Kenzie win. Mm-hmm. What do we think about that?
I love the fact that it didn't end with a puzzle, but you had to do one more thing. And you could even see Kenzie kind of thought she was done with that challenge. So the fact that this last challenge that we're talking about, I thought it was a very cool aspect. And it didn't change anything. Kenzie would have won the game if there was no thing at the end. But it sure was helpful to have a second player, run that quarter mile to go get a board, to be wrong once and then to get it right. So I thought both challenges on this finale were awesome. I do not miss the ball that goes crazy and have to pick it up and throw a new
the motion or whatever it's called.
Overdone. That's almost more played than torn by Natalie and Berglia. But I love these last two challenges.
Yeah. That was funny when Kenzie threw the ball off the entire, she threw the ball off the, whatever it's called, Plinko board.
Yeah.
Love Plinko. That was cool too, to see Ben win one. I mean, that was really cool to see Ben and, he really went through it. And, and honestly, you go out there and we said this on prior episode. These aren't their normal selves. They're, sleeping outside and, having night terrors and bugs and not going to the bathroom like Liz and stuff. So people are acting a little bit weird. Liz also too, after she ate a little bit, she seemed a little bit more normal. She just seemed to kind of be a little bit more
that's
watchful.
Okay. Take Ben. I can't eat pasta anyway. So
yeah. She's just chill. So I did think it was you saw in that moment too, Liz, she read it and she just was like, boom, I'm gonna go. She didn't talk with Kenzie. She was just like, oh, I know what to do. And went down there, got it. That was a cool moment for Liz. And I did like how they teamed up to get Maria out. Because at that point I was like, Maria, get out. I'm not, I don't want you in the final. So I thought it was pretty cool. But here's the thing. She said 34 and then it didn't work. Okay, just move the number up and try to pull again. Then move the number up. If you get pretty close, then you can just move the number and try it again. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that, right? So they're like, oh, let me count the whole thing again. It's like, well, if she got pretty close, there's only
you're not off
30
by
something.
10.
It's 30 something. Yeah.
You're off by several.
I don't know, Brie, what do you think? You didn't like it?
So here's the thing.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like that Liz helped. I really, I mean,
No
watching,
cheating?
yeah, a little bit, because it's designed as an individual immunity challenge, right? That's what it's called. And I saw something posted, and it was Sophie from I don't know what season.
Yeah.
And she was trying to stack, when you're trying to hold the one side and stack like a card deck, but it's like little squares to get it high enough. No, it was just straight up to like reach the thing. So you had
like the house of cards.
Yes, house of cards kind of thing. But you had to hold it and balance it with this hand. And she was like telling the guy next to her, help pick up my pieces that have fallen. Pick up my pieces that have fallen. And he's like, no, I'm close. And she's like, you're not going to win this. Pick up my pieces. And then Jeff says, well, I'm going to make this easy for you. I'm going to let you know that that's not allowed. And so it's interesting that like now it's allowed, and we've seen it happen where people have done that, helped others in the past. But like this was so pivotal, and as much as I wanted Maria to go, I also wanted it to be a fair fight, right? Like you're not going to put in Cochran against Mike Tyson, right? You know what I mean? Like you want to have, when you have two people fight, like that was a long run back to get that board. You had to go all the way through all the obstacles. I'm watching Maria do it. My heart was breaking for her. And I'm kind of a fan of hers, but not like, I want her to go.
Yeah.
And still I felt for her in that moment, because Liz had taken all that time to go back and get the board, come all the way back through, count all the holes to help Kenzie. I don't know. It bothered me. I wanted someone to beat Maria and do it fairly. And so
I almost want, I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going with that. I almost wonder if this is a little bit different than somebody actually being really involved in your challenge, like Sophie was talking about. And I also don't know if the board that Liz grabbed was her own board, or if she went and grabbed Kenzie's, or did they have the same?
Kenzie's board.
It was Kenzie's.
Kenzie's board. I think each person had a slightly different number.
Okay, then that might be different in my eyes too. I think that showed just how dominant Maria was. That helped,
I agree.
I think the storyline for sure. Second, I think I was fine by it, just because it's not like she was holding up a puzzle to make sure it doesn't fall over. Liz had to overexert herself, and she was the weakest one of every, maybe besides Kenzie. But Kenzie was second or third when it came to getting all the way up to the puzzle. I mean, she was booking on this one. She usually isn't this close. So I think it shows more about the players and how they reacted to that, and it helped the storyline. So maybe that's why Survivor said, "Hey, we're going to let this go." Oh man, do you think they let it go, or do you think they were?
Well, I think the difference between maybe the Sophie House of Cards, right, is that's one singular thing. Like they only did the House of Cards, and so it was a truly singular challenge. This had multiple components to it. I liked it because the person I wanted went home. If it was the person I wanted to stay, then I'd be, I hate it. Why they shouldn't allow that? Illegal. But again, too, another challenge that Charlie totally choked on. He was the first one up. He's supposed to be the puzzle guy. You go to Harvard, bro, and you can't complete this. It was a super simple puzzle. I mean, it was not a complicated puzzle, and he was not even close to completing it. He wasn't even they didn't even show him trying to complete his puzzle because he was so far behind. So another aspect of maybe why Charlie shouldn't have won, because he totally choked on that challenge too.
Yeah, he did choke. And I wanted Maria to go home too, because I didn't like her downfall at the end. And we had a comment earlier about this one that Brennan did, like, was a low-key villain. Like, she did kind of come out a low-key villain at the end. I do love a good villain. But I felt for her in that moment, watching her go through the obstacle, carrying her board, and knowing that the advantage was definitely to Kenzie on this. I guess that's hard. It was hard.
You would see when she lost, she just would be like beside herself. Like she couldn't even feign like, you know what, great. You know, she didn't even just do this. She was always like looking off and like crocodile tears, like, oh, and I'm just joking. Like, you know what I mean? But like, you know, you could just be like, you know what, good job, Kenzie, right? Clap and just feign, like Charlie at the end, right? He was crushed, but he still kept on the good face. He had his moment, he had his reaction, but then you know what, you know, and at the end, you know, Maria, she was a professional, or she was, you know, a good example for her children. I really respect that, and
100%.
having grace about it, and saying, you know what, but there was kind of this, I don't want to say something inappropriate, but like they were kind of like, patting her on the back so much. Oh, you were, it was like a competition of who could, you know, stroke her ego more at the end. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You know, for me, it's kind of like Suri. I'm not a big fan of Suri. You know, she's the one who got off the couch, and, you know, she is what he is. But people like act like she's like a god. Like she's like the best of all time. She's good. But like they give her this like over exaggerated credence, you know, and like, you're the best player of all time. Maria, she pissed some people off. She didn't play that good of a game. She tried to, you know, was she really that good? I think she's good, but, you know, and maybe that's just playing to the jury and try to get her vote too, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kenzie was like, Maria, you're a badass. I want to be like you when I'm older. And, you know, maybe that's playing to her on the jury type of stuff. But,
well, gotta vote. So,
we gotta vote. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you see the villains come in and they do their things. I think the reason that she's not looked upon maybe as a villain, but also in a favorable way, was that she played this game for so long, and it seemed like she was just, because we even compared her on this to like Julie and how they play that mom role, and they, you know, but like Julie never had that downfall at the end, right? She didn't really fall from grace the way I feel like Maria did. And I guess we figured out how to solve a problem like Maria, didn't we? We just team up with Liz and we get the job done. So,
well, you know, this was a very young season too. Maria was much older than almost every other person, minus Banu and Randon and Jess, who got voted off very early. Jess was 37, Randon was 40, Banu was 40. After that, everybody was in their 30s, you know, mid 30s or under. 20s. And so 20s, you know, most of them were in their 20s. And so, I mean, a lot of credence to that too, being an older person in a really young person's game. And, you know, we look at next season and it seems like there's a much wider variety of ages, and, you know, it's maybe a little bit old. I didn't really like how it was such a young season, because then it just got into the vibes. Like, that's why like Kenzie won, because I think it was a younger jury and it was more on the vibes of it. And like, they related to Kenzie on that level. And we saw that like so much throughout the season, that they weren't voting off the people who were the big threats. They were voting off the people who were in their little clique and who were cool, kind of. You know what I mean? In my opinion. I mean, yeah. you don't really see that with, I mean, they voted off Tevin, they voted off Soda, big threats. Hunter, big threat. Tiffany, was she a big threat? She had an idol, I guess so. But then they voted off Venus, Q. So, and then prior to that, they voted off Mariah, not a big threat. Tim, not a big threat. Jem, not a big threat. Banu, not, you know, all the original, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 votes. I don't think those people were winning. Well, I guess Randon went home because of an injury, but
yeah. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
There was a lot there. I won't go with the villain thing. I don't see where she played a necessarily villainous move. And, you know, it's the new era, so maybe we're defining, like we've been talking about in these episodes, maybe villain is a differently framed word here. Because I think, I think villain, I think the poverty, who's just manipulator, just amazing manipulator. I didn't see much manipulation in Maria. I thought she asked very good questions. And we saw that from the first episode. And I think what we did is once the rock, paper, scissors thing happened, that's where we're like, wait, hold on. That's not a good way to do this. I think she was so good and so Denise at the very beginning. We even said that she was the better Denise of the Denises, and she's not even a Denise. And then she kind of just stopped thinking because I think she got in too much of a power role again too early. That's the number one problem with any Survivor show is if you're too early at being the top dog, you aren't gonna win, and you're going to probably be seen as some kind of villain. I just don't see the villain aspect. I think there's a difference between villain and just too strong and nobody wants you to win.
Yeah, I don't think she was a villain at all. I mean, not really villainous, and she made some mistakes, and but not a villain.
But I still
don't think anybody was really a villain on this season at all.
Yeah, and maybe I disagree with Brennan because I'm so mad that he beat me at this prediction, and it's the bourbon burger. So maybe I do agree with him, but I just don't want to on the show.
I wanted to get to something. I've got to show this that we put together, or that actually Brandon put together.
Your guys' ideas too.
Yeah. I love this. How did you fare? I wasn't able to make mine up because I didn't even watch like after they announced the winner. I haven't seen that part yet. I still got to go do that. But I wanted to get how did you fare? These are amazing.
Well, thank you. This took 5 minutes of thought because this season was just like the movie Dumb and Dumber, which is the alliance that made it all the way to the end.
And Charlie, yep.
They had so many quotables in the season, but so much dumb this season too. So definitely some great one-liners, enough to make a bingo card. And I almost got a bingo. I'll start with that first. If you go down to the middle horizontal row, there was a couple 80s rock references throughout the finale. We got the free space of watching Spill the Immunity Thursday at noon Eastern time, which everybody should, and they're doing it now. So great job. Liz teared up 15 times. And then a unanimous vote, meaning that it wasn't tribal council, the last one, of course, but they all did put votes on Maria, which is as unanimous as it gets since that person can't vote. So I counted that. But I'm going to blame Tiffany for not giving me my bingo because she said no Taylor Swift anything. And I believe he may have had a shake it off comment in his little speech, but he wasn't allowed to say it. So Tiffany, I'm blaming you.
We did get T-Swift. We did get Taylor Swift's name mentioned.
We got a name.
Add final tribal.
Maybe that messed up his whole final speech because he interwove it with Taylor Swift quotes. Oh. And he's like, well, what do I do now? My whole speech. No.
I would have loved every bit of that. Loved every bit of that.
The other each move to a Taylor Swift song. Yeah, go ahead.
That would have been, and I would have given you my vote even more, Charlie. Then so we had a Soto scowl, couple of them. We did not have a Q skirt until I think the
final tribal. He was wearing it.
He was wearing a final tribal. So
yeah,
there's another one. Okay. Jeff didn't have any tribal snacks.
What's up with the snacks, Jeff? You bring him to everything else. You should have been handing. Well, he did bring pizza at the end.
He brought. So we're counting that.
I count that. That's tribal snacks. They were still at tribal.
All right, and then Applebee's. Go ahead, Alex.
No, I just thought of something. I watched this with my girlfriend Johanna, and she said the Q skirt, isn't that what every teenage boy did in middle school to hide? You know what I mean? Yep. I just thought that was funny. It's like, that would be what Q would do, right?
Applebee's.
He's got his Twizzlers, Brandon. All right.
I'm in, baby. I bought my my seat cushion too.
Oh, good. There you go. Get comfy. Let's go.
Ben did not vote Rick Devens. Shame. Food-based whining. We said that Liz cleaned up her act this time, and it was like, I'm allergic to pasta. We got a Zelensky mention at the end.
She stole your joke, Brie. You made that joke way before Venus.
What was the joke you made?
Survivor 40 several.
Oh, survive.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you didn't watch the reunion, but Venus makes the joke. It's Survivor 40 several. And I was like, she stole that from Brie.
But
Because
Brie,
he said it like right when it happened. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Kinsey, I think all of her surprises this time were okay surprises. Did you guys think that Kinsey was, overly surprised for no apparent reason at all throughout this finale?
When she made fire, I mean, she knew she's like, I know how to make fire. I'll be able to beat Liz. And then
Okay.
she's like, I won. And it was like, Liz didn't even have a fire going. Like every time she got a fire going, she blew it out. Like what?
She did.
Well, Kinsey did something really interesting there that I haven't seen before. A lot of people strike it once, but she when she got that fire, she scraped off more flint into it, and it really grew. As far as every single time that Liz did, she get that one spark and then blow it out. Kenzie added all that extra flint to it, and it really started. I mean, it was really smart. And then she was honestly really shocked when she won too.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, I think she was pretty shocked she won. So,
but I think that shock right there you're talking about, I think that was I think that was a surprise that I was surprised she won. So I can count that, but I think you're right with the she was shocked that she beat Liz at a fire making challenge.
When she just said, I can beat Liz at a fire making, I want to do fire because I want to beat Liz at the fire making challenge. That'll be easy.
At the same time, she probably just was like, holy crap, like I'm going to the end now. Like it's now official. So
exactly.
So 50-50. I'll put half a chip on that one. And then Malcolm and Denise reference. I didn't hear any.
Nope.
Did you guys hear any? I think they died. I think that died.
That was done. Charlie was like, gone.
Goodbye. Peace.
And then no Ben vote.
No Ben vote.
Not a surprise.
Didn't get a single vote. So no chip for that one. Going down the last two rows real quick, Q mentions why he should win still. He maybe didn't do that, but there's a couple things he said that made him sound a lot smarter than what he really did on the show.
Either crushes you or turns it into a diamond or something like that.
Good quote. That was a good quote.
Yep.
By our Qster. Idol is played. We did not get an Idol play all season. Did they even look at Final Five?
Yeah, they Maria did. When they went on to the sanctuary, Maria and Charlie she was like, she had a whole plan. You go this way, we're gonna go down this way, then we'll swing back and come around the beach.
Nothing. That's right.
Yeah.
Do you think they put an idol there? Or do you think they didn't put an idol on the island?
They're like, why? Why bother?
And they're not gonna play it.
They can play it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think they did put it there because all of them were saying just how hard it is to try to find it. So I would hope they would put there one more time. I think it's in their best production idea to throw one more in there. But that's just me. Challenge goes longer than expected. I thought they were all fine.
No, they did go longer than expected. The fire making challenge took forever.
Oh, I guess. But did you? I expected that to go forever. Did you not? You thought it was going to be?
I thought Kenzie would have it much quicker than that. Okay. I saw a lot of comments. People were like, "Are we going to matches?"
That's funny.
Oh, that was a great episode.
Several people said that. What?
Several. Kenzie is last, which completely far from the truth. Rock, paper, scissors was not done. Kenzie wins immunity. Unseen game twist with, I think, the puzzle turning into, hey, you have to do one more thing after you put the puzzle together. So that was kind of twisty. There was a reptile on the little puzzle, and Maria didn't have time to talk about not being an island mom. She was voted off early. So I think 50% there with no bingo.
Amazing season, amazing time. We're going to do some wrap up next week on our deeper dive into things. I want to leave you with this. I did see this posted. If you watch the intro to Survivor, you will see that Kenzie's photo, her intro is followed by a gold 46 logo. Was that an Easter egg? I want to know your thoughts on that. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks for hanging out with us, Brennan. You're the best. We appreciate all the fun stuff.
Give me your Venmo, Brennan. Give me your Venmo.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Thank you. Bye.